Hey guys, it's Kat, and today I'm going to be talking about my breastfeeding journey. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the backstory of where I came from before I was pregnant. So my mom breastfed me until I was 2, but she probably would have never breastfed me had I not been premature. And the only reason she breastfed me for as long as she did is because a lot of times, if you didn't know, once you start breastfeeding and you make it work, it's just easier to keep making it work, and a lot of the times it can be hard to get your baby off of it. And that was kind of the case with me. I literally refused to, I would starve. And with me being premature, I had a lot of health issues and she couldn't let me starve. So, yeah. And then a lot of my family breastfed their kids. So before I got pregnant, I was like, yeah, I'm going to breastfeed all of my kids. That's what I'm going to do. Formula, no, screw that. I'm breastfeeding no matter what work it takes. That was not a very good logic. And I kind of realized that at the beginning of my pregnancy. I was like, As I was watching more videos on breastfeeding, I kind of realized, maybe I should cut myself some slack, and I'm not going to force myself to, but I'm going to really try to breastfeed. And then as I got closer to my due date, I was like, well, okay, I'll do this. If I can't exclusively breastfeed, then I won't breastfeed, but if I can exclusively breastfeed, then I'll do it. Well, little did I realize that most people can't just put their baby on their boob and latch perfectly and have a perfect time and easy time with it, and just the only struggle being that they have to get up every 2 to 3 hours instead of every 3 to 4. But that's what I thought, and I don't know how because I did a ton of research, but I think no matter what amount of research you do, you can never fully prepare for being a parent. So by exclusively breastfeeding, I don't know if I clarified this, but I'm referring to putting the baby on your boob, and that's the only source of anything, not even using a nipple shield or anything, just straight up breast and baby. No help from anything else, which, like I said, was not the best logic. I was speaking out of ignorance though, because from what I had read, you shouldn't pump until after the 6-week mark, you shouldn't give your baby a pacifier until after, I think, the 4 or 6 week mark, stuff like that, to have nothing else besides the baby on the boob. But what it also kind of failed to mention when I was reading it, or I guess maybe what I ignored, was the fact that you may have to use different things like nipple shield if you have inverted nipples, which I'll get into in a minute. So from mid-pregnancy on, I had started leaking out of my breasts, and it started out as just a few spots, and then towards the very end it would just completely soak the bra to the point where I'd have to wear a nipple pad. It wouldn't soak through completely, but it'd just be a puddle. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it would be uncomfortable because I could feel the wetness in my bra, and it's not good to just sit there in it. So when she was born, we did skin to skin, and at first she wasn't routing around or anything. She was completely uninterested in eating. And so then once she finally was, we kind of realized after trying to get my nipples to pop out that I had kind of inverted nipples, because they aren't completely inverted, but they're enough inverted that they aren't latchable, if that's even a word. After trying, they were like, okay, well, do you want to try to use a nipple shield? So we used the nipple shield and was able to get milk into the nipple shield to kind of encourage her to drink it, but colostrum doesn't come out as fast as actual your milk supply. We had been trying for a really long time. I mean, I had multiple nurses, everybody was touching me, trying to get it to work. I tried to get Lee to help me, and he tried to help me, but they basically told him he was making it worse, and I didn't think so, but they know more about it than I do. So I wish they would have given me a nursing pillow, or should have brought mine, but they do have them. I just don't know if they have access to them if the lactation consultant isn't there, and same with breast pumps. So again, that's important to remember. So if you haven't yet, I would watch my labor and delivery story, because this part will make a little bit more sense. I'll link it in the eye. So I had been really tired and exhausted, and due to the epidural not being the best on this side, I ended up having a lot of issues with my right side, to summarize. So that's the side she ended up latching on, and I tried the different holds or whatever, either holding her with this hand or this one. I ended up trying to hold her with this one, and then use this hand for my boob, and it was just really difficult to try to hold her because I was so weak from everything, labor and the lack of sleep. So I was so sore, my shoulder was hurting so bad. I was just in so much pain in like my upper area. It wasn't even like down there that I was in pain, that I finally was like, man, everything just hurts. And like breastfeeding off the bat hurts because you're not used to that. And so I should have like said something, because I probably could have helped me more with it. I mean, I had mentioned that I was like hurting, but I didn't say, hey, is there anything I can do about my pain? And I guess I just assumed they would tell me, but it's not the best logic. I just get really nervous. I'm like, I don't know, talking to people, asking for help, I guess. So then finally I was like, man, I can't do this. Like, I was looking at Lee, like, you could just tell that I was just miserable, because I was just embarrassed and discouraged and uncomfortable with all of it, because, you know, I really thought that it was going to go a lot easier for me, and I didn't realize how hard it was going to be off the bat, too. Like, I figured maybe she wouldn't latch, but I didn't think the issue would be me. And not that it's my fault, but it is my body's fault, so. Finally kind of, like, mentioned something about me being miserable or something, and they kind of touch on the different options, like pumping and the different things, and since I had read that pumping wasn't good, that, like, I don't know, they weren't really thoroughly explaining all of the different effects of the options, or, like, giving me all the options. They kind of were, like, discouraging pumping, since she was kind of latching, but, like, if you're wearing a nipple shield, like, I don't know a ton about it, but finally I just gave her a bottle, because I was like, well, if the other options aren't really good options either, I might as well just give her a bottle, because that's easier. So I gave her a bottle, because she only got like half feeding in, because I was just miserable. I was like, I can't do this. And it was mainly like my arms. Like, I literally thought I was going to drop her, and they were not letting Lee help me. So the entire day after she was born, because she was born at 1:55 in the morning, so like I had that entire day, I was just really upset about how everything went, because like anything that I wanted didn't happen. Nothing went as planned, and that's normal, but like I was just really upset about all of it. I was so happy she was here, but then I also was having like the baby blues too, because adjusting from her being outside of my belly was just really hard, but that's more for the postpartum video. So the rest of the day I just gave her a bottle, because I was just exhausted. I was so overwhelmed by everything. The lactation consultant had come in and talked to me, but like she came in a couple hours before she was going to be leaving, and then I ate, and then I was trying to spend time with Mariana, and I was just so tired. I was like, I don't want to breastfeed right now. I just can't do this. And so I didn't end up talking to her, and since it was a Friday, she wasn't going to be in the next day. So that night I tried to breastfeed her, and I tried to do it on my own, and I could not get her to latch, and since she had already had the bottle, it was even harder. If you're wanting to breastfeed, I really recommend giving it your all before giving in and giving the bottle, because yeah, it can cause so much issues. So then the next day, Saturday, I had like completely tried breastfeeding her for every feeding, and it got to that night, and I was like, wow, I really hate having to fight with her to get her to breastfeed. Like, this is really hard, because, you know, she looks in pain, and she's mad, and she's upset, and she's a newborn, and they're like treating her like, I don't know, they have to like shove her onto your boob to get her to latch, and even though it's okay, I wasn't comfortable with it, and it was just really upsetting. So then that night I talked to a nurse who wasn't biased, because a lot of them were quite opinionated, which for good reason, but still, you gotta like understand both sides of it, and what she did, she even breastfed her kids and was able to see like the flip side of it. So she ended up making me feel better about stopping breastfeeding. So that night I stopped, and Sunday we went home, and I gave her the bottle then, and then Monday morning it hit me like a truck, where I was like engorged, and I was like uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't know, I just really wish I was breastfeeding. I feel so bad, because I should have kept trying, because, you know, she was latching, and then I gave her the bottle. I was also really scared, because all Saturday, every time I needed to breastfeed, I needed a lot of help, like a lot of help. I could not get her to latch on my own, and I was like, what am I going to do when I go home? Like, I cannot starve my baby, because I can't get her to latch. They also weren't having me do the football hold the first day she was born, and I don't really know why, because that is the hole that ended up working out for me. Just like foreshadowing. That would have helped, and having a pump would have helped. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I forgot to mention that also I had asked for a pump, I think it was Saturday, and they were like, or Friday maybe. I think it was Friday, and they were like, okay, well, if you breastfeed another couple times or something like that, and actually basically like prove that you want to breastfeed or something, we'll get you a pump. So like I said, I had planned on exclusively breastfeeding, and if that didn't work, then just bottle feeding, and so I didn't have a pump with me. And I was also under the impression that whenever I needed one, if I needed one, I would have it like, you know, then. That's not exactly how it works. So I don't know if they have to go through the lactation consultant to get one or how that works exactly. But either way, I was under the impression that I would have one like if I needed one, when I needed it, and not have to like prove myself. I don't know. Pumping is a lot of work too, so wouldn't you think that'd prove myself? I was a little irritated by the way some of them were acting about it too. Like, I really loved the nurses that I had throughout my labor and delivery, but then after, I just felt like all of them were super judgmental towards me, other than like one or two. Jumping back to Monday, I ended up getting a manual pump because I knew I could get an electric one through my insurance, so I didn't want to like spend the money then to get the electric one, especially if I didn't know it was going to work out, because I didn't know if since I had stopped I would still get my milk supply. But either way, I was in pain, so I started pumping, and that helped, and it was still colostrum at this point, so I kind of gave it to her more as a snack than an actual feeding, and then, like, if it was, like, 1 ounce or something, I'd give her 3 ounces of formula, or she wasn't drinking that much, I'd give her 1 ounce of formula or something to, like, replace it. Then we saw the lactation consultant on Tuesday, and she got me an electric pump, so I pumped and tried to get, like, my milk supply to, like, you know, be as much as I needed. And so then Thursday is when I think I finally got her to latch with the nipple shield again, because I had to go get more nipple shields. And so then I kept trying to breastfeed and make it work. Then I ended up getting mastitis, and so I think I had skipped a feeding or something, and I think that's what caused it, but I don't really know because, I don't know. I was also still trying to pump too, just to like maintain my supply. I was trying to make it work. And so then when I got mastitis, I ended up having to pump and like try to keep the one breast empty, and I went to the doctors about it, and I don't know if you know anything about mastitis, but basically it makes you feel like you have the flu and your breast hurts so bad. I mean, it's like, it makes you feel like you've been hit by a truck. I can't even explain how bad it is. It's miserable. And I mean, the one night my fever went up to 104 and I refused to go to the hospital because I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. So I did everything to get it to go down, and luckily it went down to like a 101 or something. But I mean, that was with Tylenol and everything. It was bad. It was really bad. So I was super miserable, and her dad's working, so I would have to take care of her by myself when feeling this sick. And she's a newborn, so like, I'm a new mom and I have no idea what I'm doing, and then trying to do it when you feel horrible. I mean, the one time I almost dropped her, it was really bad. I'm trying to express to you how bad it was so you understand where I was coming from with this. And I was actually getting frustrated with everything before that anyways. So we both would have to get up in the middle of the night due to the fact that she's so strong. It was really hard to get her to latch. Like, she would rip the nipple shield off and make a mess. She would kick off the couch and push away. She would like pull her head back because even when she was fresh out of the womb, she just had so much strength, and I have no idea how. So I'd have to like fight with her to get her to latch, and then it was hard to keep her latched, and then she would fall asleep, so I'd need his help to keep her awake because I'm trying to hold her, keeping her latched, and then he'd have to wake her up. It was just a lot. So instead of us being able to take turns with feedings or something, it would take both of us every single time she needed fed. So when he would go to work, that'd be a problem too. So as I was trying to get it to go away, I ended up getting it in the other breast as I was trying to like not completely empty this boob to like supply and demand to like get more milk in, so it wouldn't be as bad when I would try to quit breastfeeding, because at this point I had decided that. So once I got it in the other breast, I was like, I'm done. And so I ended up calling my midwife, and she's like, well, there's nothing else I can really do, so she prescribed me another antibiotic, and then I was like, okay, when can I stop breastfeeding? Because I was under the impression that I couldn't stop since I had mastitis, and I ended up stopping, and I didn't have to pump or anything, and I just put cabbage leaves in my bra, wore a really tight bra, and dried up my milk supply, and I had to take Claritin and my antibiotics and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much how I stopped, and that's my journey. And if you want to know why I stopped, that's a whole different video. But yeah, my advice if you're wanting to breastfeed, and it's perfectly fine if you don't want to, because that's a lot. Breastfeeding is really hard. A fed baby is best, and so like breast or formula, it doesn't really matter. Different things work for different people. Some people can't even breastfeed, so it is what it is. But if you are wanting to breastfeed, I highly, highly, highly recommend trying while you're in the hospital, getting as prepared as you can be. If there's a lactation consultant you can talk to them, like get as much help as you can, and just like really try, because I feel there's so much I wish I would have done differently. Like I wish I would have never given her a bottle, and I wish I would have just like completely exclusively breastfed for at least a week or two, and like talked to the lactation consultant if needs be, and just like made it work for at least a week or two, and then like I would have had an easier time trying to just get it figured out. And like if you get 6 weeks maternity leave, because it can be really hard if you're going back to work and everything, I don't know. I just say try it for as long as you can. But at the same time, do not make yourself miserable to where it's going to negatively affect both you and your baby trying to do it. Because like I said, sometimes it just doesn't work. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be making the why I stopped breastfeeding video soon, so that'll come out after this. Hope you enjoyed. Bye!